Are your kids heroes for the animals? Welcome to Activist. I'm Gareth.
And I'm Jackie. Today we have the wonderful Susan Hargreaves joining us. Susan is an animal rights activist for more than 40 years and is also the founder of Animal Hero Kids.
This episode is full of brilliant advice for anyone who has children or teens in their life that they're trying to educate about veganism and animal ethics. If you enjoy this content, then smash that like button, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We hope you enjoy this episode as much as we did. It was an absolute pleasure to talk to Susan.
For joining us today, Susan. It is an honor to meet someone who has devoted so much of her life to animal rights activism. Your awareness of the plight of animals began at an early age when you were taken as an animal-loving child to a chicken hatchery. Can you share your experience of that with our viewers and how it shaped your life's work in creating heroes for the animals?
Well, at 9 years old, my Aunt Alwyn in West Yorkshire said to me, "You love animals so much, come to work with me today." And you can see all the baby chicks being born. And she was a receptionist. So off I went at 9 years of age. And she sat in the front desk and she said, "Oh, the chicks are back there." And I opened the door and there was this large industrial warehouse room and all these conveyor belts and these big drums and hoses coming from the drums. And then I walked closer to the conveyor belts and I saw all the chicks just hatching out of their eggs. And then I saw these people just gassing and suffocating the chicks in these bins. And the chicks, some were crawling out under the dead ones, trying to get over the dead ones. So some were half alive, some were still trying to get through and get some air up at the top. And I stood back away from that one bin, and then I realized that it was a lot of bins and a lot of conveyor belts, and all of the chicks were all the male chicks are being gassed and suffocated and killed. And my aunt never mentioned this to me, and I looked. My first thing I did was look to the closest adult, look up at their face, like, "Oh my God, look what's happening!" And they just looked at me like, "What are you doing here?" And I thought, "Oh my God, can't you see what's happening? Can't you see what's happening?" And it was just business as usual.
Yeah. So sad. Like for us now, looking into that, and for us, we straight away we're like the disconnection, and it's just, yeah, it's crazy that so many people can, be there and be having that happen every day and not even think to realize that maybe we shouldn't show the 9-year-old that sort of process. It's horrific. But from being a lone voice for the animals, you've gone on to become a powerful advocate for over 40 years and inspired countless more voices. How have you seen the perception and acceptance of veganism, and more so the perception of animals, change over your years of advocacy?
Well, the guy who owned the chicken hatchery I went in just as a little pinpoint of the rest of the world, became vegetarian, the owner of the chicken hatchery. And he ended up selling it, and today it's a youth hostel in West Yorkshire. And that is indicative of the rest of the world in many ways. The stockyards in 1982 that I investigated in Toronto at Keele and St. Clair, horrific cruelty, is today a mall called the Stockyards Mall. Don't ask me why they kept the name Stockyards Mall. Who wants to go shopping at Stockyards Mall? But anyway, and then I was on like TV shows in the 80s, like the mid 80s, and I would never say the word vegan because you might as well be saying Martian. That people knew what Martian was with way more clarity than what vegan was. So there was no point in even mentioning it. And I've got some old news clips. We're working on a documentary right now. And in the old news clip is me saying, "This is totally vegetarian." That means pure vegetarian. that means no eggs, no milk, no going through that whole thing. And that's the way it was for many years. You would have to say that if you were at a restaurant, you'd say, I'm completely vegetarian, totally vegetarian. That means no eggs, no milk, no, And then I remember the day that somebody, the waitress turned to me and said, you mean you're vegan? I went, what? You know that word? And now look at it today. Look at it today. I mean, look at Beyond Meat. There's still a lot further to go, let's face it, for the animals. The chicks are still being gassed and suffocated. But the fact is that when I founded Animal Hero Kids and started giving awards to kids who help animals, that's all species of animals, dogs, cats, chickens, elephants. This is the book, Animal Hero Kids. When I first started giving awards, there was maybe 2 vegans, and the rest are want to help cats, they want to help dogs, they want to help horses. But I haven't had an Animal Hero Kids Awards ceremony, an annual one, for like 5 years, where not every child or teen is vegan. So it's definitely changing, and I've seen that change, and I'm not used to it. I'm still ecstatic if I go into a vegan restaurant and they give me a menu and I can eat anything on the menu. I always say, everybody else go first, because I'm trying to stay calm and look really calm looking at the menu. It's like, oh my God, I can have this, I can have that. And then I just look what everyone else is having and hope that I have made up my mind by the time the person asks me.
Oh, I love it. That must be, a huge change. We've been vegan for 4 years, and for us, things have changed and progressed, even here in little old New Zealand in that time. So it must be monumental for you. It must be, so gives you hope, I guess. Yeah.
It does. And like all activists, I have to keep going, and I have to think that I'm here for the long haul, and celebrate the small victories and try to be kind to myself, and keep my spirits up, because it's not easy. It's like all of the animal activists, all of the people that have really seen what's happening to other animals, that have really witnessed it, whether it be in a movie like Dominion, or whether it be, in your own neighborhood or in your own family's business, like you, Jackie, the dairy farm. We are haunted by it, I think. It's almost a form of post-traumatic stress syndrome. And it's so funny, because this activist I knew in 1980, when we were with Mobilization for Animals, said to me that those who are still active today from that time, they're probably all post-traumatic stress syndrome sufferers, because it just keeps them coming back. It's pretty sick. The fact is that I think that we need to be really mindful of that when we're dealing with each other, to try to be as positive as we can, to keep our spirits up, and support each other. So like your show, where you highlight what others are doing and you celebrate it, and then that's exactly the kind of element that is needed to continue to strengthen our movement to stop animal suffering. So that's what you are doing, which is amazing. So thank you for asking me to come on today, all the way there in New Zealand, and New Zealand is a progressive country, let's face it.
Yeah, we're getting there, for so many years we've been touted as the world capital of animal agriculture, and, we're trying to show that actually there are a lot of us working to change that. So
yeah.
But you yourself, you've been part of so many major and important campaigns, and been such a huge part in so many changes. And, you've also been named as one of the top influential animal rights heroes, and rightly so. You've spoken about, mobilization. What is the purple?
That's my favorite color.
It's mine too. What is the purpose of Animal Hero Kids?
Well, the purpose of Animal Hero Kids is to educate all about the suffering of other animals, the other species. This is Lovey. She wanted to say hello.
Hey, Lovey.
Hello, Lovey.
Hi, New Zealand. She's 18, vegan. And so Animal Hero Kids empowers youth to compassionate action. And for many years now, I've been doing that in schools, and I enter the schools with the being kind to all animals through that door and fostering self-esteem. And I inspire the other kids with stories of kids who are just like them that are helping all species of animals. So this is a Skipping Stones Honor Award winning book that I wrote, and it has kids helping all species of animals. So, that's a dairy cow right there. And it starts out with companion animals, dogs and cats, and then it goes off to, actually, there's an Australian story in here too. It's kids from all around the world.
Oh, awesome.
This is an Australian Animal Hero Kid. Yeah, so when the kids hear these stories, in the elementary schools, I'll do a school assembly when, of course, there's no COVIDs. And the kids clap and cheer after every animal rescue story by youth. And it makes no difference what species of animal is being rescued to those elementary school kids. No difference. They clap exactly the same, whether an elephant is being saved in Thailand from the tourist industry by Juliet West, whether it's Chicklet. We were talking about Chicklet before the show started, a chicken saved from a Future Farmers of America. It's exactly the same joy and ecstatic, spontaneous clapping after every rescue. So, and then I always, if possible, have vegan food as part of the program. So I don't lead with the vegan, but it's all about helping all species of animals. And then the book has lots of vegan recipes in the middle of it, the Animal Hero Kids book, and Tofurkey and Beyond Meat. And a lot of these companies have helped Animal Hero Kids by donating products that I can go into the schools with. So sometimes if it's a class, then they will make an Animal Hero sub. And in the Animal Hero sub, because in America, there are things called heroes, which are submarine sandwiches. And the Animal Hero sub will have Tofurkey and diet cheese and sometimes potato chips because, hey, it tastes good. Vegenaise, and they make their own sandwiches. So I always have a vegan element in there, that helps.
That's awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Makes me smile just thinking about that. That's so cool.
At Vegan FTA, we're always looking for more effective and efficient ways of advocating and communicating. So I guess what we can learn from that is the best way to get the imagination of the children is to really start with one of these types of stories, eh?
Yes, and actually the Animal Hero Kids book, it's almost 300 pages, and in it are service learning projects, lessons, tips, awesome animal facts, and schools that are all over helping animals, different schools that have helped animals, like they have Meat Free Monday, or they've got vegan things in their cafeteria. And one of the schools featured is James Cameron's wife's school. That was the first vegan fair school in the United States. And I actually went there and gave Animal Hero Kids Awards. We had an annual Animal Hero Kids Awards at that school. And Animal Hero kids flew in, some of the kids that were helping animals at that time from all over Pennsylvania and all over to California. And so the schools love this because the Skipping Stones Honor Award is a multicultural youth diversity magazine that recognized that this book has all colors, all backgrounds, and it's from actually all over the world, Philippines, Australia, and it has like activity ideas. So it's actually a very good, if you want to reach kids, and you want like a curriculum, this could be the curriculum, like the activity ideas, and so it's great. I don't mean to keep talking about my book, but the fact is,
it's a beautiful book. I got to get my hands on that book.
Yeah, but the fact is the reason I wrote it is exactly for things like you just mentioned, that you're looking for ways to talk to youth, you're looking for ways to get into schools, you're looking for non-threatening ways to get the truth out about what's happening to animals, but in a way where it's how you can be a hero to other animals. And so it's positive. So you don't go in there and they're not like, uh-oh, stay away, back away from the school. You go in there with like costumed characters, and like one of the characters we have is Ronnie V. Cow. And I always say, and what do you think that, I'll see if I can find him in here. What do you think the letter V stands for Ronnie V. Cow? So you can sort of see Ronnie V. Cow here. Oh, see him? There he is. And so I say, okay, what does the word V stand for? And I was in Palm Beach in a private school in a 4th grade class, and this one girl said vodka. But and then I was in Santa Monica at another school, and somebody said virtual, which had never happened. And at the time, I didn't even know what virtual meant. They knew what it meant, but I didn't. So, but they generally get around to the word vegan, because they say, oh, this teacher's vegan, or, Johnny is vegan, and then that discussion comes up in a natural way, so it's not you bringing it up. It's actually a giant cow's name that you have with you. And it's the kids themselves that are bringing it up, asking you questions. That's the way to talk about it,
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome. And definitely sounds like it's working as well, because we were wondering as well the same thing, how do you go about approaching this subject? So you've obviously just absolutely nailing it. And as you've mentioned, your teachings incorporate all kinds of animals, not just dogs and cats, or not just farm animals. And throughout this series, we've seen advocates for both broad spectrum campaigns as well as a more sort of specific focus. Do you feel that having a broad range of animals featured helps the kids connect?
Absolutely. And I always bring Lovey with me, a rescued doggy. And it could be like I don't know how it is in New Zealand, but here in the United States, you do a school assembly, and you're talking to 250 kids. And I have to do 3 school assemblies in one day in one school to reach the population. And that's just a medium-sized school. So it's 700 students a day I'm reaching. And so no matter what grade level, kindergarten or up, when I enter the room and go up on stage with Lovey, complete silence. The kindergartners, there could be 3 kindergarten classes of 30 each, 5-year-olds. And as soon as they see Lovey, this is what you hear. You hear this, oh, all together, and then complete silence. I have their attention as soon as I walk in with Lovey, and then they find out about, it's very interactive actually. So it's not just me talking; it's a lot of questions, very interactive, and with a lot of the questions and discussion that comes up. We also have an Animal Hero Kids pledge card at the end that each child takes home, and they say the pledge: I will never harm another animal. I realize that wild animals belong in their natural homes. with their families. Now that's pretty, straightforwardly simple. And you would think that everybody knows that these days, but in fact, we still have zoos, circuses, aquariums, and they learn in the presentation about some of the animals that are being helped by kids that are marine mammals and circus protests that they've organized. And in the book, it also has ways to organize a protest, how to talk to your local government, how to speak to city commissioners, how to change the law by Thomas Pence, who, when he was 12 years old, created a Lobby for Animals group where he focused on legislation in Florida. And he started when he saw somebody killing a baby shark on a dock in Florida. And he convinced the person to throw the baby shark back. Yeah. So there's a lot of wonderful stories, a lot of wonderful kids who are helping animals. And my challenge, like all nonprofit group charities that are really grassroots, is to be as effective as possible, because I have the answer to prevent animal cruelty. And I have been doing it since 1980 with the programs. However, I'm not a fundraiser. I'm not a social media person, really. I'm not a public relations person or an advertiser or an agent or like all these things. So like everyone, we need to support each other and help each other to do things to be more effective. And sometimes it can be really frustrating because I will say yes or plan something before we have the actual resources to do it. They're just like, woo. I was at one school and I was so excited about this school that I said, we are going to get a bus and we're going to transport you across Florida for the Animal Hero Kids Summit. Yay, yay. And I thought, how much can a bus cost, really? Not that much, right? It was about $1,500 for air, because little did I know that, of course, it has to be an air-conditioned bus because we're in Florida. And then it has to be like a coach, and you have to pay for them all day for a very long time because they don't drop you off and then come back later. They're there the whole time, that bus or whatever. So that's an example of sort of like pushing straight ahead without perhaps having the, really realizing how much funding stuff like this takes, because we give everything away.
Yeah,
give away for free, give away the awards, give away the programs, and it's a grassroots organization. So I need help with the website. I'm very lucky that I have a student from the Art Institute that is now not a student anymore and is living in Dublin, who is helping me with the website. So that's great. So yeah, so if there's anybody watching that would like to volunteer for Animal Hero Kids, we're all volunteer, including myself. And you can fill out a volunteer form on animalherokids.org. And we need everything: video editors, people who are savvy with social media, because that's a lot of work, that social media stuff, don't you think?
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. Oh, that's great to know that people can volunteer, because we hear people all the time that want to do more, and it's not always clear how to go about doing that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we'll be sure to link that in the description of this video as well, so people can get involved easier. And yeah, collaboration is what's going to move us forward, and fundraising is definitely one of the biggest issues that we're facing, apart from the animal cruelty itself. Fundraising is next there. And so many of us are, we're trying to get the work out. Even this FTA series, like we push ahead every year, try to make sure it happens. And we're sort of like, oh, we better actually fundraise at some point to
we're not going to be able to pay for the stuff we need to make it.
Jump in, you go, wow, we have to do this. What an idea. Let's go forward. and then you go, whoops, wait a second. You have to buy that stuff, don't you?
I do.
So something else that we are looking for are video editors as well, but also farm sanctuaries, farm animal sanctuaries, legitimate ones, of course, that would like to partner with Animal Hero Kids and do virtual programs in their school district. So we have a new program that has started since the Connecticut, 2 Connecticut school districts bought the e-version book for the students of the Animal Hero Kids, and I led that class. It's given me the idea that every farm sanctuary locally can go to their own school district and say, hey, we have this program with Animal Hero Kids, a 40+ year humane educator that will lead the program, and we will be a part of it by introducing some of the animals that we've rescued for the kids virtually. And so we're starting that, and that's a global thing. That could be anywhere. And it's perfect partnerships because the local farm sanctuaries live in that school district. They can do the legwork, find out who's in charge, and it's also perfect timing because they're really looking for programs that are interactive, engaging, new, fresh, to try to keep the kids' attentions in these times. And then after the program, and let's say we're all hopefully not on the next virus, which would be bird flu, the local people can go and visit the kids that were in the class, can go and visit that sanctuary and volunteer and get involved. So it's all a win-win-win. And what I like about it is it gives an alternative here to the 4-H program or the Future Farmers of America program, where the kids are desensitized at an early age. There's even something called Fair Life Farms, which you've probably heard of, the undercover cruelty investigation done there, where they host busloads of kids. And the busloads of kids, the goal is to desensitize them to the animal suffering. And they even have one cow that has the stomach open of the cow. I'm not kidding. A hole in the cow of the stomach and this like plastic rim around, and the kids put a plastic glove on themselves and they go and they put their hand inside the stomach. That's one of the and the kids are, kids like animals. And if they hear they're going to a farm, they're all excited and they all go on the school bus there. And what do they find out? They find out the same thing that I found out when I was in school, in middle school, grade 7 and 8. I think I was in grade 7, and we were taken to the Canadian National Exhibition agricultural fairgrounds as a school trip. And they had a mother pig, and then they had the baby pigs in one of those Iron Maidens or farrowing crates. And I yelled at the guy. I was totally shocked. I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop this. What are you doing?" But the kids that really want to help animals, what do they have in their schools? What do they have available to them? Think about it. They have many of the books have zoos being okay, and Curious George and the monkeys. There's a lot of things wrong currently with the way that children, it's their love for other animals is often used to desensitize them to the cruelties that are going on. And when I did have a tour one time with the Girl Scouts, and I was talking to the kids about dust baths and showing this chicken was taking a dust bath. And the girl said to the mother, but this isn't the type of chicken we eat, is it? And the mother said, "Oh, no, it's a different type of chicken that we eat. It's not this type of chicken." So let's face it, there is a big lie going on to so many kids that if they knew that their crispy chicken tenders were actually from these beautiful birds, they wouldn't want to participate. And as a matter of fact, it's happening where the kids are finding out for themselves. And they're finding out online, or maybe their celebrity, like Sadie Sink or Billie Eilish, they find out, oh, they're vegan, what's that? And then they research themselves and they're making the decision to go vegan. So the support is needed for these kids because often they might be the only vegan in the school, depending on where they live. So that's where Animal Hero Kids can come in and say, join Animal Hero Kids, be a part of the Animal Hero crew. And then they meet other vegan kids all around the world. So if anybody's watching and has children or teens that are vegan and they want to join the Animal Hero crew, they just go to our website, go to the About thing, and it'll say Animal Hero Crew. They can see all of the kids that are members, and they can also join and have their picture on there, their first name, and how they help animals and how they want to help animals, a little thing. And then they would participate in compilation videos like Animal Hero Crew taste tests of plant milks, or so we have a video on the homepage, We Are Animal Hero Kids, that is beautiful, that I don't know if you can play, in this, but it shows a lot of the kids from all over saying, we are Animal Hero Kids. We educate, we nominate, because I also, Animal Hero Kids gives awards to kids who have helped animals. And there's some amazing rescue stories, amazing, and I find that it doesn't matter how much money the child or teen has, it doesn't matter where they live. If they see an animal that needs help and that animal is there crossing their path, they're going to do everything to help that animal. And those are the stories that are part of Animal Hero Kids, really.
I can already think of so many sanctuaries and stuff we need to get and put you two in
Yeah,
touch
yeah,
with.
we're going to be talking to a few,
A
aren't we?
whole host of
Definitely.
links, but
and a couple of Animal Hero Kids here in New Zealand. I'm going to be hitting
Yeah.
up their mums as soon as we get off this call.
Great. That's great. And then all they have to do is buy the Animal Hero Kids book, because this is like a manual, really, and then we'll we're working on like a certification. Obviously, we're only working with real sanctuaries, not sanctuaries that say they're sanctuaries, but in fact they're a petting zoo or they're breeding or something. So so we're weeding out everyone, and in that weeding out would be a certification where they can at their sanctuary or on their website have a thing saying Animal Hero Kids participating in the Be an Animal Hero program partner or something like that. So
that'll be fantastic.
Yeah.
There's quite a few sanctuaries that we've worked with over the course of our time at Vegan FTA, and so many of them, their goal is to go on to educate kids more than anything and educate the public. So it'd be great to have programs like that. But going back to sort of how you speaking about these programs that they have to desensitize kids, one thing that's very important right now is mental health, and especially with what's been going on in recent times. And there's the effect of dystopia, which is the existential crisis that comes up when we're looking at this current world and then our vegan beliefs, and that existential crisis that arises from those interacting with each other. And for these kids, I think it's so important that, you're teaching them to really connect, not to disconnect, because it's from a lot of this disconnection that a lot of mental health issues arise, because, we're creating these crises within ourselves. Have you seen this effect of dystopia, though, within the children when, they're getting introduced to this whole vegan world and then they're looking out around it, and how it affects them sort of mentally?
That's a really good question. That's something that I, as the Animal Hero Kids founder, have on the, I want to make sure, depending on the age of the kids, that they don't see things that are traumatizing to them. because let's face it, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning with things that I can't get out of my head. We have these like reels that we've seen that once it starts, we can't stop. Do we want to do that to a child? No, we do not. And so I make sure that all the Animal Hero Kids materials, resources, videos, books come at it from a point where the animal needs help and you can help. This is what you can do. This is what, and then they take those steps to do it. Well, that is huge, because the only time that I sleep well is when I know that I've done the best that I can and I feel like I'm being constructive and positive. Well, that's the same with everybody, I think. And so the fact that these kids might come in and they might be like, oh, I saw this and that online, right? And that's why I'm vegan and that. But then we'll say, okay, this person feels the same way that you do about dairy cows, and they are doing a petition to locally ban veal crates in their city. Like Josie, one of our Animal Hero Kids, who's now a teen that's in the book, that's when I first met her, that's what she was doing. So then they then get to connect, and it's soothing. It's like I'm not alone, and I can actually do something. And I think no matter how old we are, we need that. So that helps. I try to protect the positivity and the light that children have, the joy that they have. And a lot of joy comes from them being all together and uniting and achieving something together. I mean, even these compilation videos that we do, you'll see the We Are Animal Hero Kids. It starts with Kamaya in Arizona, and then it goes to Kingston and Vancouver. I don't say where they're all from, but even though they live in separate parts of the world, they're all together in that video, and then they watch it and they see others that are like themselves. So, I mean, I hear things. There was one young boy who was teased a lot, and he ended up committing suicide, and he was vegan. And I think that was it was in England. And I was shocked, of course, and I thought, well, we have to figure out a way that everybody can join Animal Hero Kids, that everybody knows about it, because he didn't know about it. I think if he knew about it, he would be introduced to all the other kids that feel the same way. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be vegan to join Animal Hero Kids. I want to make that clear. If you're helping cats or dogs or horses, that's wonderful too. You don't have to be vegan to join Animal Hero Kids. Sometimes it happens where then they learn from the other kids what's happening to the other animals, and then they end up being vegan. So, which is good.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
but yeah, community is definitely such a huge part of this, and it is a huge backer for mental health, is having those people around you to support you. And one thing is that when you do reach these children, they can still often face opposition when it comes to the adults in their lives, because once again, so many of us, are still trying to get our relatives on board with this whole thing. What's your advice to any of the children who might be watching this when they're coming up against a situation of dealing with the adults?
Well, I've been doing when I was doing a couple of school assemblies, it's actually happened like 3 times, where the child in the audience might be 8 or 9, and they'll say, I want to be a vegetarian, but my parents don't want me to, and they won't let me, and they, so of course I'm not going to say, well, leave home. They're 8 or 9, but I do say, I was 8 or 9, and I wanted to be vegetarian, and I was forced to eat liver at the table and not leave until that liver was finished on my plate. And even though I was saying, I'll say this to you, but I won't say this to them, even though I was saying the veins were snapping in my mouth to my mom, And so I would say, well, and now when I moved out, when I got older, now I can do what I want. So now I can do what I want. And if you want to tell your parents, and I'll give them a handout sheet that has resources for everything, like in their local area, resource to help wildlife, resource to learn about children's health, vegan health. And so it's pcrm.org. And I'll say to the teachers, there are many, many kids and teens that are turning vegan because Billie Eilish is vegan. And so many of their people that they look up to are vegan. And why not have them go vegan in a healthy way? And here is the resources to do that. So that way they don't just eat French fries, and nothing else. So then it's like, okay, here's a free tool and a resource that is being offered to them,
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's so helpful. I'm sure there's a lot of people that, me included, when I was younger, I was 13 when I said I was going vegetarian, and, my mum would try and do anything because she was like, I'm not having you live on cucumber sandwiches, and she didn't know what to feed me, and that was just going vegetarian, so it's great to have resources now. She didn't have anywhere to go, or there weren't too many resources around to know what to feed me. So in the end, she just kept making me my favorite sausage roll, shepherd's pie, and all of those things, tempt me back to the dark side. But I won in the end, Mum, if you're watching.
And Mom, yes, my mom's 82 and vegan now today. And if she was watching this, she'd say, why do you always say your mom? What about your dad? Your dad was doing it too.
So true, so true. My dad definitely wasn't doing the cooking though, I think. Yeah. He just figured it would be a phase I'd be going through. Yeah. But yes. We've spoken in interviews before about the importance of critical thinking, which Animal Hero Kids certainly teaches, and which is brilliant, such a valuable tool to learn at a young age. And as well as critical thinking, Animal Hero Kids also teaches a lot of skills that many adults would love to have, and you've mentioned like organizing a protest, how to contact governments, or how to lobby for legislations. And what are some of the great results of from the young people that you know about that have come about as a result of this? We've spoken about the lad with the baby shark.
Yes. Well, where do you start? First of all, I don't take credit for what the kids and teens do themselves. So it's not Animal Hero Kids that is doing this as the organization. We are like a springboard. We're like a training ground, right? So when, let's say, Genesis, who is well known, she was the youngest TEDx talker in the United States, and she turned her family vegan when she was like 5. And we gave her an Animal Hero Kids Awards. It was actually a Paul McCartney Young Veg Advocate Award when she was 5. When I saw her poem that she did when she was in grade 1 about she has a dream. I have a dream. Let's face it, we don't eat animals. She said it way better than I do. and so she has grown to be a mega, activist. And I'm on animal. That's not Animal Hero Kids, the organization, doing that. That's her doing that, independently. And as a critical thinker, an individual that is self-possessed and has faith in what she is saying is going to be received well, is eloquent. She's had a lot of positive reinforcement from her mom, Janelle. And that's the same with all of the Animal Hero Kids, really. They will go off and do their own thing. Like Hannah Testa, she now has a book out all about the plastic crisis and helping the oceans and so on. So it's hard for me to say, oh, Animal Hero Kids has accomplished this or Animal Hero Kids has accomplished that, when I kind of feel like we're the club that the kids come to and then they go out into the world. So we are like the the seed and the pot, you know, and they come in, they get fortified, they get positive self-esteem, they get trained from their other kids that are achieving things, and then they go out into the world, and then our challenge as Animal Hero Kids, the organization, is to keep our soil strong. Not like I'm being like that Being There movie with Peter Sellers, but it's for us to keep healthy and not to be supported, for people to realize what we are doing. However, having said that, we also are an activist organization. So we'll focus on different things. Like here in Florida, they had the bear killing. It was a bear massacre. It was a family bear massacre, I call it. I don't call it hunting, because hunting is like you're looking for something and you find it, and you don't have a high-powered rifle, and you don't have bait, and you don't have calls, and you don't just go out on a flat land in Florida and kill bears. So it was a massacre. It wasn't a hunt. And a lot of the kids, Animal Hero Kids, came with me to the Fish and Wildlife Commissions and spoke very eloquently against killing the bears. What they said was inarguable. The crusty old Fish and Wildlife Commissioners who are appointed and are hunters, they're not elected. They're appointed by the governor. And the Fish and Wildlife Commission here, I don't know about New Zealand, their main thing is to support hunting, because they make their money out of hunting licenses. But yet this is the entity that's supposed to be protecting wildlife. So in the first time in like my 30 years of going there, the Fish and Wildlife Commission, there's a story in the book how they banned fox and coyote penning because 12 kids spoke against it, and they were affected by it. So and of course the media love it. It's kids talking. A lot of times adults get tired of listening to each other. So a news reporter is going to go straight towards that child that is saying, you know, don't kill the bears. Don't kill the bears. And so we had a memorial for all the bears that were killed. And the memorial was called by one of our Animal Hero Kids. That's how I put it across. And he was 6 at the time, Kendall, and his Instagram is I Am Little Bear. That was his nickname, Little Bear. And he called this memorial together, and all of the groups came together, and all of the people came together. There was hundreds in Orlando at a memorial service for all the bears that were killed. And the next year they voted not to kill bears anymore. Why? Not because that they're listening to public opinion, because they don't care. They don't have to care. They're not voted in. They did it because they knew they couldn't get away with it because of all the media attention. They could not get away with it again. It was too unpopular, right? And it wasn't just Animal Hero Kids, I have to say, that did that. There was other organizations too. We all pulled together and worked on it. So that was an instance where our activist organization, because I am an activist from 1980, really pushed and focused on that one specific thing to stop it. And it did stop. And it was all the kids united, you know, together to stop it.
That's absolutely brilliant.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I love doing like surprise type things. So the day that the Fish and Wildlife Commission were deciding on how many bears they were going to kill at their meeting at the hotel that they were staying, and they came out for lunch, and a lot of media was there. Down the side of the hotel was a big banner that said, "Say no to killing," in a big bear's face. And it was like a 3-story banner, because we had Animal Hero Kids had rented a hotel room that night so we could go in the morning and at lunchtime and unfurl our banner right there. And then that banner followed them everywhere. It was on the bridges, it was wherever they had it. It was just like there all the time.
That's absolutely fantastic. I love hearing that.
Yeah, there was Susan, like, is a serious, like, you're a lovely sweet lady and you do all this wonderful stuff with children, but you're a real badass activist as well. You've done some amazing things.
So, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. You really can't argue with kids. And for our viewers here, if you haven't already, you got to check out Eduardo Gonzalez's episode. He speaks a lot about the hunting and the atrocities going on, especially when it comes to those organizations which are meant to be conserving them being headed up by a lot of big hunters. So that's an important episode to check out. But also, this really shows how well the media can work in our favor. And talking to Captain Paul Watson from Sea Shepherd, he was another one who cemented that point in that if you know how to manipulate it, how to use it, it is one of our greatest assets that we can use. And at the moment, there are just so many injustices that are being given the limelight that they deserve, and we're trying to bring them to justice. And one of the things that you teach within Animal Hero Kids is to empathize with others outside of their peer group and also their species. And it's an important tool when we come to disarm these not just social injustices, but injustice in general. So empathy and kindness are core aspects of Animal Hero Kids. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's fostering empathy. That is the key. Fostering empathy. If you don't have empathy, you don't have a building block to kindness. So that is so important to foster empathy. So my background is early childhood education, and that's, of course, one of the things that we were taught in school. But the fact is that I was taught that, and we were all taught that a long time ago, empathy in our own lives. My grandfather from Ballinasloe, Galway, he helped all the wildlife. And so when I was like 6 or so, I met all kinds of animals that he had rescued that he was then releasing. And one was a duck that I came face to face with, literally, because I was short, and so was the duck, and I was on the ground, and I just came face to face for the first time, with the duck, like this close. We're looking at each other in our eyes, and I recognized, here is another life just exactly like me. That was an empathy builder right there. And we all have those in our lives, but I try to fast forward the empathy or grow the empathy. And this is there's a Veganza Animal Hero book. This is the first vegan animal hero that is not a kid, actually, but an adult with Lovey. And one of her superpowers is to foster empathy. But how she does it is, let's say there is a hunter that is about to kill a mother bear, like this. So she flies in. I don't know if you can see that, but she flies in and she freezes the scene. And the hunter then feels what the animal is feeling, the fear that they feel. And then they come up with their own things, or she whispers something and they think it's their idea. And she whispered in this story, she whispers, you will come up with a wildlife ambulance idea. And so he wakes up and now, everything's unfrozen, and he realizes, oh my God, what have I done? And, he didn't shoot the mother bear. And she also snaps the gun in half with her magic powers. And she has fostered empathy in that hunter. And now he helps wildlife, and he has a wildlife ambulance idea. He thinks he does. So, and then later in all the kids who were protesting, actually, they got a note to join Veganza's Animal Heroes School. And next thing you know, Veganza's meeting the vegan mermaid right there, Courage. And they all received that note in their pocket when they were frozen. And then the next thing you know, they're arriving in the wildlife ambulance, which the former hunter, is driving, and they're all welcoming the Animal Hero kids who are holding the Animal Hero Kids book. And off they go in their craft to Animal Hero School. So that is all about fostering empathy. And there's the former hunter waving goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh,
That was brilliant.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you mentioned Veganza, because that was going to be my next question as well. So we'll make sure that we definitely have links to where you can get these wonderful books from.
Yes, it's good to go to our website and get it, but that's only if you're in America. If you're in Australia or New Zealand, it's actually, I think, it's all over. If you Google Australia Animal Hero Kids Voices for the Voiceless, that book will come up in Australia, or Veganza Animal Hero. It'll come up in there. And we're also working on Veganza Animal Hero food giveaway. That's a regular thing. And we have had an old Jeep donated, and we're going to wrap it with Veganza Animal Hero around it and give away the hero subs to here in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, where it's needed, really.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's awesome. I just love everything you're doing, everything you've done, and everything you continue to do. Thank you. I mean, Animal Hero Kids teaches people of all ages how powerful they are in ways that they can relate. That's what I love. You teach them that they are very powerful. They've got a very powerful and important voice. And thanks to you, there are teams of children all around the world, like you say, speaking out for their animals. So for you, after 40 years of activism and still going strong, what is your hope for the future?
Well, I still have a dream of having an Animal Hero Kids World Sanctuary kind of thing, where kids can come and meet rescued animals, not big, just almost like a pilot, because that's a huge undertaking, a sanctuary, but like 2 pigs, 2 cows, and the kids will come and visit. They will get a free presentation, interactive. They'll meet the animals, and they'll have a vegan food making activity, and then an art activity, and then they'll go, they'll go out, and we would have our own little Animal Hero Kids World, where we'll have our Animal Hero Kids Awards every year. And that's kind of one of the things that I am still holding out. I'm 61 now, holding out for that dream to come true. I've had little bits of it over the years, like where I was at a sanctuary where they asked me to do an education center. I said, okay, but the education center is only going to serve vegan food, and that's my one condition. They said, okay, but it turned out actually that the groups weren't, they just wanted to help horses and cats, actually, and nobody else. And it didn't, they had barbecues, and we didn't get along after the barbecue and the pig race and the wildlife displays. I thought, I can't do this. So but I had a little taste of it with the school buses arriving, and I would make them vegan homemade chili, and they would have, pies, fruit pies for dessert, and they would spend the whole day, and they would be changed. Each child or teen would be changed after that day out, because I don't know if you remember when you went on school trips, that was a big deal when you were a kid. Same with the assemblies, but actually going somewhere out of school on a school bus, and then meeting animals, and then that really affected them. I had kids that came in that were from a group where they were in, believe it or not, a group home that was on jail grounds. That was boys that were like 12 or 13, and they had done something. So they call it juvenile detention center, but it was really like it was also a group home because they didn't have room for some of the kids. And anyway, so they were regular visitors, and they had so much heart, they met one of the, when in my presentation, I had a slide of Carrick, the black bunny that I rescued, that was in a cruelty case. And when I took the rabbit to the vet, she x-rayed the rabbit, and the organs that were supposed to be like around the stomach were pushed up. And that's just where they were, permanently from a kick. And nobody knew that until I took Carrick to the vet. And when I told that story to the kids and they saw this beautiful rabbit, one of them said, "If I could, I would make Carrick the queen of the world." And that was the way that boy, that 12-year-old boy, voiced his regard for that other creature, that how he would take this creature that has suffered and hold up that creature and keep them safe forever, and have them actually higher than himself, like as the queen. And that's the way that he voiced it. I knew exactly what he meant, and so I would like to have a home for animal hero kids. So that's something that I'm still holding on to, that possible dream. And we don't have a lot of funding, it's but you never know. Maybe somebody watching this will say, "Oh, I've got some land, or I've got some, or I can help with that." And plan B, which you always have to have, don't you? Plan B, plan C. Plan B is the fact that all of the farm sanctuaries that exist in the world can join Animal Hero Kids programs, become an Animal Hero Kids entity in their own neighborhood, and I will help them for free to get the local schools interested and involved. And now that would be the largest sanctuary teaching in the world. Because when you think about it, Amazon doesn't have a store, Netflix doesn't have a film thing, or, all of that thing. There's no actual bricks and mortar. Why couldn't Uber doesn't have a taxi place? So why couldn't Animal Hero Kids be the largest education partner with sanctuaries in the world? And I would get my wish and help a lot of kids all over still,
Fantastic vision, and
Wonderful,
hopefully
yeah.
all of us here at Vegan FTA can help you achieve those dreams sometime in the future.
Absolutely. And all the wonderful celebrities that support your work as well. We've got Paul McCartney, we've got Joaquin Phoenix. There are so many. So you never know. Hopefully they might be watching as well. If you'd like to help Susan with her sanctuary, guys, that would be awesome.
All the links you need should be in the description for this.
Yes, and if you are a celebrity and you're watching, we're actually doing a claymation, a 5-minute claymation, like Chicken Run is a claymation, and it's Veganza Animal Hero. And the film fellow that's doing it actually was a preschooler at 3 years old. I did a presentation in his school in Miami, and he's grown up, graduated from film school, and he's doing this claymation. And we're looking for celebrity voices for the characters. So we're looking for a celebrity voice to be Lovey in the Veganza claymation. And I kind of wish Moby would be that voice, and
Wonderful.
So
Moby,
anyway.
where you at, man?
And so and I would really love some woman to be Veganza. I don't want to be Veganza. I want a voice that people will be like, "Oh wow, Helen Mirren is Veganza," or "Oh,
brain's ticking, yeah."
That'd be fantastic. There's one last little point I'd like to make, and it was as you're speaking about the way that these kids have connected with the animals, it's something that we've seen come up quite a few times in recent episodes. Is it's not just the why you go vegan, but it's the who you go vegan for as well. And having those special connections with animals, it really just, it cements what you do it for. And I know for myself, pigs have been, I've had many special occasions with pigs, you know, just sitting and giving them belly scratches. But I really encourage all of our viewers, you know, if you haven't already, you know, if you can go to an animal sanctuary and just, you know, there's the one thing of seeing a vigil to fuel your fire, but there's also going to the lighter side of it. If you're not capable of doing these other things, to fuel yourself with that love and affection that you can give, and the caring for some of these animals who have already been saved. So
thank you for watching this episode. If you'd like to support our speaker, then follow the links provided in the description. If you're enjoying this content, then please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave a like on our videos or drop a comment with something that you've learned. Your love and support means the world to us, and we thank you all for watching this.